Hello, friends. Welcome to Morning Drive on YouTube. Glad to have you with us today. After missing nearly 3 months due to a knee injury, Brooks Koepka is set to make his 2020 debut at the European Tour's Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship. So Koepka, if you remember, withdrew from the CJ Cup at Nine Bridges back in October after slipping on a concrete bridge and injuring his knee. Now, that injury forced him to withdraw from the President's Cup in December. But according to his agent, Koepka has now met all of his therapy goals. And news out this morning that the top-ranked player in the world has also committed to play in the Honda Classic in February. So teeing up our group on the other side of the studio, starting with Robert Dameron. As he prepares to tee off the action and get back at it next week, what are the biggest questions that you have for Koepka in 2020?
Well, initially, it's what good is all that time in the gym if you're going to slip on a bridge and twist your knee? It seems like a waste of time. But he's let us know that he goes after the big events. And he has trouble getting up for the other ones. And it's all about majors. It's all about the playoffs. It's all about the players. That's it for him. That's what he gets up for. What happens when he goes on a run where he doesn't perform well in those events? Does he lose his identity? Does he start to push? Does he struggle with it? Does he shrink a little bit? Because he's verbally put it out there. He has not been shy about telling us what he thinks and what he feels at each tournament. So when that doesn't pan out, and eventually it will. He's not going to play good every major from now on. How is that going to work out for him? I hope it doesn't come soon. I'm enjoying the run of really big tournaments and seeing Brooks Koepka and seeing what he can do, but eventually it will happen.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We've ever really seen a player like this ever before who creates the narrative around their career as majors, majors, majors. And that's kind of what he's done. And like you said, Robert, quite rightly, that is not going to last forever. So how will the narrative change this year is a question for me. And will it change? If it doesn't, then great. But he hasn't got a FedEx Cup. He hasn't got a Players' Championship. There are huge boxes that he hasn't ticked yet. And it's just whether this will be the year.
Last few years, his mouth has been writing checks that his body's been able to cash. And now I'm not sure if that's the case coming off of this injury with JT and Rory clearly height of power right now, playing tremendous golf. And we've kind of ignored JT because of the Brooks-Rory so-called rivalry. JT has thrust himself back into the conversation. Then you have Rory McIlroy, who Brooks Koepka, let's be honest, he put him down. And said it's not a rivalry because he hasn't won a major since I've been winning majors and been out here in golf. So I think Brooks is vulnerable because he's coming off of injury and because those two guys are playing so well, not to mention Tiger Woods as well. So Brooks talks a big game. He's backed up his talk for most of his career. Can he continue to do so coming off this injury?
And my question would be, what if he continues this run? How big can he become? It is an Olympic year, the greatest stage in sports worldwide. It's something that transcends just the game of golf. Can he continue to build on the reputation he has this year? It's pretty extraordinary to think that his dominance could continue in a way that is even greater than what we've already seen.
A lot hinges on that knee.
Gap's closing, too. The gap's closing in the world rankings.
Well, yes, it is.
But he hasn't played that much.
He's earned his spot as number one.
Yeah, oh yeah.
No question about it. JT and Rory are pushing really hard. Rahm too, but wow, it's not a clear-cut number one in the world.
Certainly not. If Koepka can stay healthy, then possibly the sky is the limit once again for him, LT.
Exactly. You guys mentioned Rory McIlroy. How about the world number 2? Rory has confirmed that he will make his first start of 2020 at the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines later this month. So McIlroy finished tied for 5th at the Farmers Insurance Open debut. Last year, the reigning FedEx Cup champion already has a title under his belt. This season, he took home the win at the WGC HSBC Champions in Shanghai. So Paige, Mackenzie, as we prepare for Rory to return to action, what is the biggest question you have for him, the 4-time major champ in 2020?
My biggest question is, can he get through a year where he doesn't leave anything on the table? Last year, yes, he was player of the year, and it's going to be known as a great year for Rory McIlroy, but it's also going to be known as a year that he left the Open Championship us wanting, left us wanting in that event, left us wanting at the Masters. And he no doubt can look back at his own performance and realize the moments were too big for him in those moments. So can he get through a year where all of it goes his way?
Can any player do that? Can any player truly look back at their year and say, there is nothing that I left out on the table?
There's one. About 18, 19 years ago. Yeah, that's about it. But if you tidy that up,
yes,
and those ones you left out don't even come close to outweighing the magnitude of what you did. I know that he had a tremendous, tremendous year, and he deserved Player of the Year. I also know that in last January, when he sat down and had goals, Augusta and Portrush were 1A and 1B, and he fell flat in both of those. That doesn't take away from his season, but it might leave him just a little bit unsatisfied, even though he played so well. Going forward, that may be a different story.
He looks like he's as comfortable as he's been in quite a long time, since he was 21, 22 and winning tournaments and majors by 8 shots at a time. Spiritually, emotionally, physically, everything seems to be going in the right direction for Rory. And the question is, can he handle it? Is he going to approach Augusta National, which he's approached in different ways? Sometimes he talks about it. Sometimes he kind of tries to minimize it and treat it like it's just in the other event. He's saying all the right things, seems to be doing all the right things. Can he maintain that kind of placid, confident, easygoing nature in the Cauldron with the opportunity to become one of the 4 or 5 greatest golfers of all time? And I don't think it's going to necessarily affect him. I think he's comfortable in his skin, comfortable with what he's accomplished, comfortable with his career, but it's so tantalizing what the possibilities are. And I just want to see how he handles those 4 days in Augusta.
If you look back on his career, if starting now, he wins every tournament he plays except Augusta. And you look back on his career as a history, he's going to have that gap. If he wins Augusta and nothing else, he has a fulfilled career looking back. It's strange to say, but it is true. It is true. That's just the way it is.
It's difficult, and only Rory really in his heart knows how he truly feels about it, because he gives slightly different narratives, as you say, when he talks about it. And Paige, you mentioned it earlier, is that we got the feeling when he was in Studio AP not too long ago that he said it won't define him if he doesn't win the Masters. Do you believe that?
I do. I think inwardly, Rory is a satisfied with human being of who he is as a person and as a golfer. I don't think he needs this to define who he is. Yes, the media, we may all say this is the one event he did not get, but I think he is comfortable with who he is, and I think that makes all the difference.
I think you're right, and yet when you look at the talent and the way he drives the golf ball, and you look at that golf course and see how high he hits his irons, he knows the narrative that he's supposed to win on this golf course. There's a lot of players that have been supposed to win at Augusta National. You're talking Greg Norman, you're talking Tom Weiskopf, Ernie Els. So does he want to be in that box, or does he want to be in the Tiger, Couples, Mickelson, Nicklaus box?
If he wins that, he's in the Saracen, Hogan.
Yes.
That's it. Woods and
more
Nicklaus.
exclusive box.
That is a very exclusive and greatest European ever. And player, I left player out.
Well, he said his 30s were going to be better than his 20s, LT, so let it begin.
Ooh, that's big talk right there. Well, do you have questions for Rory or Brooks in 2020? Leave them in the comments section. And hopefully today you've enjoyed today's conversation. Subscribe to Golf Channel's YouTube page for more, and tune into Golf Channel and Morning Drive every day for the latest golf news. We'll see you next time, Morning Drive on YouTube.